The Sony PlayStation, released in North America, Europe and Australia in 1995. I feel like we've had such privilege growing up as kids in the 90s, playing these awesome consoles. Seeing CD-based games for the home consoles was just awesome. And with the release of the PlayStation came such classics like Jumping Flash, Tekken, Destruction Derby, Twisted Metal, Wipeout, just to name a few. It's been a long time since we've done one of these episodes, where we get a few other YouTubers to join us in sharing their memories from growing up as kids playing the old school consoles. So here it is, our PlayStation memories.
Favorite memories for PlayStation is definitely Tony Hawk skateboarding. Played that game for hours and days and years. I'm just mastering all the combos, and even Tony Hawk's 2 that came out as well. That was wicked. I remember you had to collect the letters for skate on each course. That was wicked.
Summer of 1996, right? And we're on school holidays, me and my best mate. Now, I don't know what I was doing, but I couldn't be bothered going around to his house. I just wanted to chill at home, and I don't know. That's not the important part. The important part is your best mate came around and he was like, "Come around. We got the new Sony PlayStation 1. Yeah, we'll play." I'm like, all right. You twisted my arm. Right. So as we're riding our bikes, we're going around there, and we get halfway to his house, and he's like, "Just tricking. We don't really." I was like, motherfucker. I really wanted to play the Sony PlayStation. I didn't want to hang out with him.
One of the first games that I experienced on the PlayStation was the first Resident Evil game. I actually ended up going over one of my mom's friend's house back in the day when this came out, and my mom's friend's son actually had the PlayStation and a couple games. He wasn't there at the time, and in order to stay busy, they said I can play the PlayStation. So I looked at this cover and it looked pretty interesting, so I popped it in, and boy was I in for a surprise. I never played a survival horror game or something scary before, and I'll tell you, once I got to the scene where the zombie turned around, whoa, it was intense.
When I first got my PlayStation 1, I think the first game I actually got was Metal Gear Solid. I remember seeing a mate play this game, and I was just amazed and blown away by the storytelling in it. It just felt like I was watching like an action movie on my PlayStation, and I was just captivated by it. And I remember finally getting Metal Gear Solid and sitting down and playing it. I had to go get my dad. I said, Dad, you got to check this out. You'll absolutely love it. He came in, and I just remember him standing next to me as Solid Snake is like using this submarine sort of one-man vehicle up into the first level, and then he gets out, and the credits are rolling in on the screen, and that music that the creator puts in, it just felt so freaking awesome. And then just starting the game straight away from that entry sort of movie scene, it felt so damn good. And then obviously the whole game is an absolute classic, let's face it, and I fell in love with the PlayStation from there on in.
PlayStation memories I have from the original PS1. I never owned one as a kid, but the first time playing it, my cousin, I believe it was around summer 97 or 98, he came and stayed the summer with me, and he brought a few games, and we ended up playing. He had Final Fantasy VII, Resident Evil, and Independence Day, and we ended up playing all those games and beating them. So I had a blast on that. The favorite at that time, this game, you see that, Resident Evil, the original, blew me away.
There was a guy at high school, I remember that he burned PlayStation games for $5, and he would come in with a little file, and he'd be like, yeah, I want that game. One game is like $10, and boom, he'll deliver it the next day for you. That was awesome. And I remember printing out the CD covers as well for the game. So you'd buy the CD case, you'd print out the CD cover, so it actually looked like the real game as well.
And then I just kept playing the game, and of course, much like everyone, I'm creeping through the mansion, going through the hallway, and then BAM! Through the window, the zombie dogs come out and chase me. And of course they kill me because I don't really know how to play the game back then, but I was definitely hooked and had to get a PlayStation in order to enjoy this game.
Around the year 2000, it was, I went over to a mate's house, Robbo, and we were playing an Olympic Games. It was called, I think it was Sydney Olympics 2000, and it was some of the shittest graphics you'll actually ever see. Like, there was these polygon stick fingers, and it was a hilarious moment. So we had 2 multi-taps plugged in, 8 controllers. We're all in the lounge room just chilling, and it's a game where you got to button mash as fast as you can, and I consider myself pretty good at that game. But so anyway, we were doing like a 400-meter sprint, and it's a pretty hard endurance, so you've got to like keep pumping these buttons as fast as you can to get around this track, and it wasn't the fastest, so we're all doing it for ages, and your stamina sort of runs out pretty quick. So one of my mates was just pretty awful at it, and we would always beat him. And the one time he got, we had a whole bunch of pizzas delivered to the house. So we had all these pizza boxes just lying around the place as we were playing the PlayStation. And my mate picks up the pizza box. He goes, "Oh, maybe this pizza box will help me, button mash faster." I don't know. We all looked at him and just laughed. So he puts the controller on top of the pizza box, and he's button mashing away on this 400-meter sprint. We're all way ahead. We're all doing pretty close, and he's right up there. He's actually leading, and he's button mashing with the controller resting on a pizza box, and he's just yelling out. There's like 50 meters to go. He's yelling out, "Come on, pizza box, pizza box, pizza box, pizza box." We're all just cracking up, laughing, and then all of a sudden, here come our players. We're catching up to him. He's up here. We're catching up to him. We're catching up to him. We're catching up to him. And he's yelling out, "Pizza fucking box, no!" And we take him. He was so close to finally winning a game on the Olympic Games, and it was all because of his pizza box technique that he put the controller on. For some reason it worked for him, but he still lost. And I just remember we all just cracked up laughing, and that's a great memory I've got from the PS1.
Final Fantasy VII was my first introduction to RPGs. And at first I was like, man, watching him play, I was like, this is boring, no fun. I didn't want to play it at all. But after a while, I sort of fell in love with it. And we ended up playing Final Fantasy VII. I think his save file was around 30 or 40 hours into the game. Maybe that's not right. But his save file was about halfway through the game. And we ended up sitting there for like 2 or 3 days until we actually completed it. It was a great, awesome experience. And really started my love for RPGs.
One of my favorite memories playing PlayStation, you might have not heard this game. It wasn't really popular, but it was called Bishi Bashi. And I remember we went to Doggo's mate's house, and there was literally 4 of us playing, and that was one of probably the best days, actually. I remember that day so vividly. We were kind of like in an apartment, like a small apartment, playing Bishi Bashi, a 4-player game. And we had so much fun that day, because these mini games that was in Bishi Bashi are so simple but kind of like hard to master, and over time you got used to it. But I remember we were all laughing and we were all having so much fun, and we just literally played that game for hours, like going through all the mini games and stuff. And that was, to be honest, that was such a good day, and I remember that day so vividly because it was so much fun. And if you haven't played Bishi Bashi, I'll tell you, you need to play it. It's an awesome game.
Was Road Rash, and that was really cool because that was the first time I had seen personally, live action scenes in between the actual gameplay, and that was really cool. Now, I'm not a big fan of those racing games, but these two I actually do like. And another one is Daytona, but that's a story for another time. But playing these 2 games, we just spent the rest of the day just going nuts with Destruction Derby 2, and then I'd watch him race because I was still no good at the racing part, but the destruction part in that big arena thing was just so good. And you could play it and rewind it and save it and watch it, the video again. It was cautious to see how high we could get the car. That was really cool.
When I actually got my PlayStation and hooked it up to my TV, it didn't work. There was like black lines on the screen and it wasn't functioning properly. So we ended up calling the helpline, and PlayStation said if you send in the system, we'll fix it for you for whatever reason why it wouldn't work on it. And for the inconvenience, they would let me pick a free game. And I thought that was pretty cool, and it wasn't just like some sports game or something like that. They had a pretty good list to choose from, and the game I chose was Jersey Devil.
You know, piracy was starting, it was a new and scary thing, right? And somehow they got wind, like him and his mum and his family, they got wind of a guy that could put a chip in PlayStation 1. So of course they did it, and I remember it cost them like, I want to say around about $150. I know it was over $100. It might have even been $100, but it cost them $100. Burnt games were about $10 each, and so he bought 10 games, and the actual chip cost him about $200. So I remember going to the place. I went with him to pick up the PlayStation, and it was so. Oh no, we're not allowed to look which house my mum goes into. We've got to be quiet. We're not allowed to draw attention to the car. You know, it was like we're doing some sort of a drug deal or something. It was. Thinking about it now, it's hilarious. But he gets these 10 games. I remember two, but the one that I was really excited for was Abe's Odyssey, because he had it originally. You know, after he got the PlayStation originally, he got a demo disc and it had that on there, and we'd play the hell out of it just for the farting, just to fart. It was hilarious.
It's kind of like a Crash Bandicoot game where you run around, collect items. It's a 3D platformer, and I never heard of it before, and it looked pretty cool, so I gave it a whirl, and I definitely enjoyed playing this. They sent me my PlayStation back what seemed like a month, but it worked fine, and still working great. So I thought that was cool on PlayStation. With the inconvenience, they could have just said send it in and offered nothing, but it was a $60 game back then, and you know, growing up as a kid, you couldn't afford many games, so I was happy to get a new game to play and enjoy.
Recently, I decided to start collecting for the PlayStation, and I've been having tons of fun with it. The most fun I've had so far, I've been getting a lot of RPGs on the PlayStation. It seems to be one of the best systems for good classic turn-based RPGs. But I was lucky enough to find this game, Suikoden 2, for a really good price. I got it for around $60, and I've been loving that. I've played that a lot. I've been playing a lot of other RPGs, but the system is great. I even got you can see behind me, the PlayStation Classic. Once it went down to $40.
Jammed in a little bedroom, and he had his little CRT TV and the PlayStation, 2 multi-taps. We all brought a controller each or whatever, or some 2 controllers. We hooked them all up into the multi-taps, 8 players, Micro Machines V3. And what we did, they were all the same controllers as well. So we just got all the controllers, raveled them all up into a big bundle, and we started the game. And so it comes on, beep, beep, it starts button. You pick up any controller, and you've got to try and figure out which Micro Machine you are when it goes green. And it's just chaos, hectic. Everyone's just falling off the tracks left, right, and center. And it was just hilarious trying to figure out your car. And it was actually, I don't know why, but for some reason, the PS1 and that memory stays with me. It was awesome fun time.
Well, those are just a couple stories and memories of the PlayStation that I have. Really cool to dive into the disc-based games, having memory cards, and all the awesome stuff on it.
That's my first experience with a PlayStation 1 that I didn't own.
The summer of '97, hanging out with my cousin, beating Resident Evil and Final Fantasy VII. I'll always remember that and always cherish that moment.
just want to do a thank you for all you guys that have joined us in this this episode, the PS1 memories. It's been a good couple years since I've actually put one of these together, where I got a few of you guys from YouTube to jump on an episode and share your memories of the old school consoles. I love doing these, and I've got a few more that I can definitely think about doing as well. So Russ Lyman, R2D2, and Intrigued Gaming, John, who is an awesome Patreon of ours as well. So thank you guys for jumping into this video and sending your video, taking the time out to record and send it to me. It's awesome, guys. Thank you very much. And to the rest of you who's watching, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, DOGG, Retro Bros, we're out of here. Peace.